Hi, I'm Josh Kettleson.
And I'm Christo Schultz. So Josh, inflation today is a thing that's on the top of most people's minds right now. How do we incorporate that into retirement and spending and budgeting?
As you know, Christo, the dollar that is in your pocket today is worth more than it's going to be worth tomorrow or next year or 20 years or 30 years from now. How often do we hear our grandparents talk about going to a movie costs $1 and a nickel, and now you go to a movie theater, if there was one open, it's going to cost you $50 for that. That's inflation. That's the cost of goods and services going up over time, and that is the silent killer of retirements. People dramatically underestimate how much things will go up in value. And in particular, retirement inflation is even worse. And what I mean by that is things that are important to retirees inflate at a higher rate than regular inflation. Things like healthcare. When's the last time you've seen healthcare costs go up 1% or 2% or 3%? We're usually talking double-digit growth. What if you want to help a grandchild out with college? Do you think education inflation goes up 1 or 2 or 3% a year? No, it doesn't. It goes up in, again, double digits. Travel. Again, same thing. It goes up. So things that are important to retirees, you have to figure are going to cost dramatically more. So when we do talk about the cost of food and clothing, even housing, we can use a baseline for like the consumer price index. Give us a roughly idea of how much things are going to go up. But once we start specifically planning for things that you want to do in retirement or things that you're going to need to do, we're going to have to put a different number on that. We can't use the same number or we will be dramatically underestimating how much retirement is going to cost.
For sure.
What are your thoughts on, or if you had experiences with inflation as it's related to pensions?
Yeah, well, specifically with pensions, it's something to keep in mind. Now, pensions they're becoming less and less common, but there's still quite a few people that get them, and they can get pensions or annuities. That's sometimes more common. What I have seen is there's another pitfall that we see is that, oh wow, my pension's going to pay me $2,000 per year for the rest of my life as long as I'm living. That sounds great. Well, 20 years from now, $2,000 is not the same as what it was worth whenever you started taking it. I use the $2,000 reference because I had a client who retired early, had a very nice pension back in the 90s that was paying him $2,000 a month. Well, now $2,000 doesn't seem nearly as good as it was back then. And for the rest of his life, he's in his 70s, and if he lives 20 more years, what will that $2,000 be worth 20 years from now when he's in his 90s?
Yeah, a great example I like to use with older folks is the chances are the last car they bought cost more than the first house they bought.
Yeah.
So people really underestimate the effects of inflation. What about Social Security? I usually tell clients when it comes to Social Security cost of living allowance, when it seems like every couple of years politicians will give retirees their pay raise and get on TV to brag about it. But usually even that doesn't keep up with inflation, does it?
No, it certainly doesn't. It seems to be, this isn't exact, but it seems to be about a 50% increase on Social Security is what the CPI or the consumer price index bump is. And so something to also keep in mind as far as Social Security. If it's sufficiently covering you now, it might not in the future.
Sure. And I think this all brings it back to the importance of a investment portfolio, whether it be stocks or bonds, mutual funds, whatever you want, real estate. It's important that we invest in securities or instruments that have a better than not chance of growing faster than inflation.
Right, and fighting it, for sure.
Absolutely.